In the simmering cauldron of 1914 Europe, great powers clashed, alliances teetering on a knife's edge, as a maelstrom of fear and ambition set the stage for a devastating drama. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand by a young nationalist zealot lit the fuse that would explode into global conflict. The dying embers of once mighty empires fought desperately in a world slipping from their grasp, while the industrial roar of Germany's ambition haunted leaders across the continent. Amidst a backdrop of suspicion, the Serbians defiantly rejected Austro-Hungary's impossible demands, beckoning the thunder of war. The Russian behemoth awoke, mobilizing to protect its kin and honor as empires edged closer toward the abyss. Germany, with the shadow of conflict looming, aligned itself with Austro-Hungary, blind to the cataclysm ahead. The ingenious, yet ultimately fallible Schlieffen Plan took form, a breathtaking strategy to ensnare France before turning on the Russian Leviathan. As millions marched, the illusion of a swift war evaporated, whilst Italy's eye for territorial expansion saw it betray former allies. Britain's lion roared as German boots trampled upon Belgian neutrality, setting alight British indignation and dragging the island nation into the fray. Belgian resistance, coupled with reports of German atrocities, fueled a propaganda fire that burned Germany's reputation amid its march through Belgium. In the indomitable spirit of Paris, the miracles of the Marne unfolded, a counterattack that pushed back the tide of German advance and wrought 250,000 casualties. The birth of the Western Front's trench warfare signaled a grim evolution as soldiers sought respite in the bowels of the earth from the mechanical angel of death above. The seas turned unforgiving battlegrounds too, with Britain flexing its naval superiority to starve the German beast. Yet under the waves, the U-boat's fangs promised a deadly hunt. The Eastern Front became a stage for tragedy and error, as the Russian bear charged, only to be encircled and devoured at Tannenberg. German victory blossomed from Russian folly, their uncoded messages falling into the hands of a waiting enemy. The empire's multi-front brawl saw the Central Powers rescuing each other from defeat, while the war's reach extended, globalizing the conflict far beyond Europe's borders. The Ottoman Empire's entry heralded a new theater of war, while colonial battlegrounds in Africa and the Pacific echoed with the shots of global war. The waves of the Pacific turned blood-red with naval might clashing, leading von Spee and his fleet to a watery grave at the Falkland Islands. The ebb and flow of conquest and defeat plagued the Balkans, as hundreds of thousands fell in a region where the nightmare had begun. As months turned to years, the war devoured the lives of 1 million soldiers, and still the machine of death hungered for more. The globe enveloped in war's shroud, the Central Powers locked horns with a growing coalition of allies, their forces sprawling across continents and seas. The air, not content to be a bystander, joined the cacophony of war with zeppelins raining fire on English soil. While at sea, the struggle for survival intensified, with Germany's ruthless U-boat campaign threatening to strangle the life from Britain. The war demanded innovation in horror, and the poisoned air of Ypres testified to mankind's grim creativity, launching an arms race that churned ever deadlier winds. As the Russian giant faltered, losing hundreds of thousands in the icy grasp of the Eastern Front, the British and French dreams of swift victory dissolved in the hellfires of Gallipoli, their forces clashing upon blood-soaked shores. The strategic ambitions of the Allies battered against the weathered walls of the Ottoman Empire, their maritime might withering before steel and mine. Amidst the martial clatter, the hushed horrors of genocide whispered, with the Ottoman persecution of Armenians marking one of the darkest chapters of human villainy. The Eastern Front ruptured under Germanic strength as Russia withered, its czar brought low by the relentless grind of war. The Western stalemate persisted, bleeding men for yards gained, sowing seeds of discontent and despair amongst the ranks. As the brutal theater expanded, Serbia's heroic resistance shattered as enemies overwhelmed her, leaving an intrepid few to escape through the merciless cold. An embattled Ireland, weary of British rule, rose up only to fall amidst the gunfire of Dublin's Easter Rising. Amidst a strife-torn world, hope flickered as America joined the Allies, tipping the scales with its industrial might and swelling ranks. Setbacks on multiple fronts left the Allies reeling, necessitating new strategies born from past failures, in a desperate search for the decisive blow that would end the endless bloodshed. A war of grim attrition gripped Europe, the industrial slaughter reducing nations to the brink of collapse, as leaders prepared for another year's gambit. Germany, seeing prolonged war as its doom, gambled on a brazen campaign of unrestricted submarine warfare, heedless of the neutral lives it might claim. Russia erupted, the revolution's fire toppling the Tsar and cracking open a war-weary nation, as American fury translated into declared hostilities against the German Reich. The skies over Western Europe, a tapestry of dogfights and reconnaissance, bore witness to a struggle for eyes above, even as the French army reeled from losses that shattered its morale and will to continue the fight. But from the mud of the Belgian front, ingenuity arose with tanks rolling over the barbed wire and across the trenches, beginning the slow turn of the war's tide. Allied fists hammered the Ottoman Empire, their blows resounding across the dunes as Damascus fell, their forces led by the enigmatic Lawrence and his band of rebels. With Russia's exit, the Central Powers sensed vulnerability, their forces nearly shattering Italy at Caporetto, calling British and French strength away from the embattled West. The Allies' pendulum swung back with tanks tearing through Cambrai, while in the east, Lens revolution promised a peace at stark cost, the Allies now facing a rejuvenated German foe. Amidst the toll of trench warfare, Germany's desperation clashed with Allied deterrence as the blockades strained the Kaiserreich, and America's weight began to press upon the scales of war. Germany sprung its last offensive with ferocious intent, seeking to divide and conquer before American might could fully muster. But the Allies held firm, blunting the blow with unity and grit. The year of 1918 saw the skies finally claimed by the Allies, the death of the Red Baron marking the waning of German dominance in the clouds. As Germany faltered, the Allies pressed, American forces proving their mettle at places like Belleau Wood, heralding the tide's turn. The final German gamble had failed. The 100 Days Offensive ignited, signaling the demise of trench warfare as crumbling German defenses heralded the relentless Allied advance. Bulgarian capitulation crumbled the Central Powers further, with the Ottoman and Austro-Hungarian empires soon following, their signatures sealing armistices that dismantled their once proud realms. Revolution and abdication swept through Germany, the old order toppled by war's unrelenting strain, birthing a republic from the monarchic ashes. On November 11th, an armistice stilled the guns, the final sigh of a war that had redrawn borders and reaped millions. The victors gathered, setting terms that would sow new discord, carving empires into nation-states, securing peace, and igniting resentment that would smolder through history. Witness a world transformed, the joy of peace shadowed by the vast specter of the fallen, a great war that shaped a century, a ghost that would linger in the fields of Europe and beyond, presaging storms yet to come.